Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam, or TTD, has released an interim report about the ghee contamination. And this is a 5-slide deck, not very much, but I want to first tell one thing, that I got the report in my hands. I took a quick look at it. The covering letter consists of 4 pages, but it is not on Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam letterhead. It appears to have been signed by the executive officer, but it is not dated. I don't like these, half-assed stuff. People who are, this person is an IAS officer, and sorry, this is not the way to do it. You should have to. This is an important report. People are going to read this thing in detail, and if that it needs to have that gravitas, and I see that missing. Should have been on TTD Devasthanam letterhead. Second is, it should have had like initialed on each page, and then the final thing should have been signed and dated. Even the date is not there. So how does one take this document seriously? I'm just assuming, since I've got it from a very reliable source, that this is indeed a serious document, and I'm just going to analyze it quickly. I can give you the result at the beginning, or you can wait till the end. I think I'll give you the result at the end, because I need to tell you a few things. This slide deck is important. Please like this video and share this thing among family and friends, because there are some truths that are going to come out from here. Here we go. Cow ghee test report. How did they find that this particular sample on July 4th or July something was contaminated? Well, looks like this is something that is more like by chance rather than by some serious testing. There were several complaints, looks like, from the pilgrims who were saying that the quality of laddu had deteriorated. Well, this probably led to somebody reviewing it in a little bit of detail, and several issues affecting the quality of the laddu was discovered. Remember, they make a lot of laddus in a day. As to how this is being made, and whether people use their hands and legs, see, we're not going to talk about that. It has been done for 10 centuries now. If you want to change that process and mechanize it, sure, you can do that. But remember that there is a temperature sensitive product, and if you use machines and if they get heated up, then the resulting final product also could change in quality and taste. That's for a different day. Now, when was it decided to outsource the procurement of cow ghee? Meaning, under whose regime was this thing outsourced? Now, if you look at the e-tenders that were given out, the first one started in 2014 September. And guess who was in power at that time? Mr. N. Chandrababu Naidu. So when you come up with a outsourcing plan of tendering, then should the person who put the plan down also not have figured out a detailed way to test it? Meaning, like, how do you test it? See, this is thousands of liters and many trucks come in. So do you open it and then take the ghee out, test it with some sample to see if it is pure or not? Or is there a different, more reliable way? I'm going to touch upon both these things, so just stay with me for a minute. So the tender specification, the quality parameters, FSSI standards were used, and they said this. Compliance requirements were given. In other words, the onus was on the supplier to make sure before the ghee was put on the tank that the ghee complied with the requirements of TTD. Now, if the sending side has complied, normally in such things, what would one expect to see? Like, you would have like a refrigerated vehicle, or even otherwise, then that you seal it. You seal the thing at the source, having certified it, and then you break open the seal at the destination. That gives you a certain amount of comfort that no adulteration was done. Now, there is specific mention to adhere to the standards. Due to lack of requisite testing equipment in TTD laboratory like gas chromatography and HPLC, certain tests for detecting adulteration such as p-cisterol, FAME are not being carried out. And trained sensory analysts, meaning like somebody who can smell and tell, with facilities were also not there for testing. No grading was done, as the tender document does not specify which score of hedonic scale is applicable for TTD. So, bit of a half-assed effort, if you will. See, these are all things that I have to nitpick. The people who are overseeing all these things are IAS officers. And it's not as if TTD doesn't have money. They should have got the right equipment. And I'm going to show you a series of equipment, some non-invasive meaning you don't even have to dip your probe into the ghee to find out whether the ghee is of correct quality or not. That's called non-invasive. There are equipment that do that. So what happened is the cow ghee received through tankers is tested for basic parameters: moisture, refractometer reading, and I'll tell you what that reading is. Free fatty acid, RM value, Baudouin test for mineral oil, added color, melting point, and test for rancidity, milk fat, 𝗠𝗂𝘀𝘀 value. These are all technical terms. Don't worry about it too much. All you want at the end is what I showed you at the first slide: yes or no, green or red. Tests were only confined to the above parameters in TTD lab and not on adulteration. Altogether, 14 number of samples were tested and rejected since 2022 based on parameters other than adulteration. Altogether, 14 number of samples were tested and rejected since 2022 based on parameters other than adulteration. So there is a report. The report is about 10-15 pages long. And in that there are the providers. So this is not just AR Dairy, that is the latest culprit. These are other vendors. They also have failed it. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the BR test because I have done some research and I found out what that is. That is the butyrol refractometer reading. What is that number? What should it be? And so on and so forth. Bottom line, is it comprehensive testing? No. It is Ram Bharose, meaning like the person who's supplying knows it is going for a 𝗣𝗚𝘂𝘀𝘀𝘀, meaning like for God, and they should be careful to make sure that they comply with it. Certainly the shipment person should have the BR because they can find out what are the parameters to which the ghee is complying with. Now I'll come to BR test results in just a moment, but there are various testing methods. GC, that is mentioned in the report, gas chromatography, and LC for liquid chromatography, spectroscopy, non-invasive, nuclear magnetic resonance. NMR is one of them. There are many other methods, or DNA based. In all these things, number 2 is very interesting because that can be done without actually having to dip a stick into the ghee. You should be able to use the container itself. You should be able to ping it and then get the results back. This is my understanding. At worst case, you may have to open the lid and then put the NMR inside that to find out. This is nuclear magnetic resonance. In other words, it doesn't require you to actually be in contact with the substance. That's why it's non-invasive. But GC, gas chromatography, and DNA based, they are more invasive. They can be done also. But all these things, you know what? You can make a simple product that people can use at home also. How do you know the ghee that you are picking up in a store is clean? Right? Now all these doubts will start coming up. I mean, this is an excellent opportunity for a startup company to make a handheld ghee tester. And that can be like a spectroscopy where you just have to shine a light, take a pen, which is essentially a cow ghee purity tester, and shine a light on it and it tells you what it is. Because typically, okay, spectroscopy means you shine light a particular frequency and then see the reflection back, and from the reflection, having seen what a reference material ghee, that is pure, you make the pure ghee yourself, and then that is a reference, and then see how this new thing reacts. And from the color that you are getting back, you can even find out the impurities. So now, what is butyrol refractometer? This is a instrument that we can use. Basically, it uses refractive index of ghee, and based on the geographic location in India, it will vary between 40 and 45. And this again, from the way I saw the description, you need to actually put the ghee out from there into some sort of a measurement pod and then run the test on that, analyze that. So these are all things that are available, and looks like they do this. BR is mentioned in the report, but not the comprehensive test where you will find out what is missing, what is adulterated, what is there, and what is not there. I think this is an excellent time now for all temples to put this thing. And I'm also hearing from the report that the testing that was done in the lab in Gujarat, the same thing is going to be replicated in TTD, Tirumala, in 2025. So maybe this is like a made to order machine that they'll have to get hold of and then install it. But that is a good tiding for the future. But like I always see a problem, I see a solution, I also see a silver lining in the horizon. This is a great product for a startup company if you know what to do, if you've worked with GC, if you've worked with GC, LC, and so on. Perkin-Elmer, if I remember correctly, does a lot of these things, and their product may not exactly work on ghee, but somebody who understands this, who has used these products, it's basic physics, guys. Wonderful if somebody can do it in India, because this is a very big market in my opinion. And a similar process can be used to also test the purity of gold, silver, diamond, what have you. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.